G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Godzilla Block Party. And you know, Godzilla Vs Kong, it's been out. It's been out now for about 2.5 weeks, going on 3 weeks. And I am happy to say, I'm happy to say this anyway, but it has been the king of the box office during pandemic times. We're going to get into the numbers in a minute. We're also going to get into a whole bunch of things in terms of Godzilla. But before we do, let me introduce you to my right-hand man when it comes to Godzilla on the G Show. G73, a.k.a. Megzy, a.k.a. my brother from another mother, Chase. How the hell you doing?
I'm doing all right, other than being attacked by all the pollen in the air. And now I'm fully vaccinated, so that's been kind of cool.
Oh, sweet. Nice. I get fully vaccinated. I got, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday, the following Tuesday, the 27th. I get my second dose. And,
nice.
And then we can both give the middle finger to Hedora. Take that, you smog monster. But bro, man, happy to have you back on. It's been a minute. Last time we were on the podcast was the day after Godzilla vs. Kong came out. We did the review. Then I did a review, an opposing view review with JR. But I don't think we're going to review Godzilla vs. Kong. We're going to talk about it. I mean, we've seen it numerous times now. Yeah. But the first thing I want to start off with is the money it's making. Because make no mistake, it is making money in a pandemic. So, I mean, real quick, it's almost at $400 million worldwide?
It's a little bit less than $10 million away.
A little bit less than $10 million away today, as of this recording, Sunday, April 18th. I have contributed to that because I went to go see Godzilla vs. Kong earlier this afternoon in the theaters. But wow, a little less than $10 million away from $400 million during a pandemic. This is absolutely stunning.
Also keep in mind, it hasn't opened in Japan yet.
And it hasn't opened in Japan yet. I'm pretty sure.
May something. Sunday in May. I think it's the 12th.
That's crazy. I wish it should have opened in Japan already. I mean, for crying out loud, it's Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You would think when it opened worldwide, quote unquote, a week before we got to see it, Japan should have been on that list. But
there's also some certain cases in the UK, places in the UK still they haven't opened either, and I get some people on Megalon talking about like, oh, we can't wait till this day next month when it comes out. So yeah. But anyways, go keep going.
Yeah, no, that's kind of crazy that it hasn't even opened in the UK yet. I have seen in certain groups around the interwebs where people are complaining about getting spoiled because they haven't seen it yet in the theater. Now, we're 2.5 weeks into this movie's release, and it's on HBO Max. While I understand where they're coming from, they gotta also understand that it's readily available to them right now. Just pay for an HBO Max subscription for 1 month. I mean, it's almost gonna be out of HBO Max in 2 weeks. So, like, I get a little upset with that. But I also understand that they want to support the cause and see it in the movie theaters. Unfortunately, with the pandemic still going on, wherever they're at, their local theaters might be closed. I get it. But at the same time, if you live in America, you can see this movie right now on HBO Max. So let's stop playing games. Watch it now, and then when your theater opens up, go pay the money to go see it again. So, that being said, almost $400 million in a pandemic. This is a success. I mean, GVK has done it. It's jammed the tide. It is the first movie post-pandemic to break box office numbers. And I mean, it's not like the biggest box office numbers. It hasn't broken $1 billion. That'd have been insane if it did. But for what it's worth, right? GVK is a box office success. So let me ask you this. Where does this rank with 2019's King of the Monsters?
Like better or box? Like
box
what do you
office
mean?
wise, yeah.
Well, King of the Monsters never. It was 386. It stopped at 386
Worldwide.
worldwide.
You see?
So, but I remember a gentleman on this podcast mentioned a couple, actually maybe a year ago, that Godzilla vs. Kong was going to wreck King of the Monsters box office, and I believe that was you. He said there's no way that Godzilla vs. Kong isn't going to make the money and beat King of the Monsters, and I believe it was you. So I give you props for being right.
Well, thank you. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying. But the crazy thing is, through a pandemic, like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's the part that's kind of giddy to me, because it's like, I mean, I get the fact of going back to the movie theaters is, it's enticing and people are hungry, but the fact that it was a kaiju movie of one of the greatest kaiju monsters of all time, yep. And you got to think these are probably some people that have never seen a Godzilla movie. Right. The fact that this movie is a check marked as a success. I mean, it makes me wonder, like, could this have been like, if this movie, if we weren't in a pandemic, would these numbers be insanely higher? But also, I wonder too, or was this movie just that interesting for people to see? Because look, if you saw that trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong, if you just want a brawl type movie, you would be in. That trailer was so executed so well. I mean, if I wasn't a Godzilla fan and I saw that trailer, I would have been like, holy shit, this looks insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see this. So I would like to be on the optimistic end and say that trailer is what did it, because that trailer was phenomenal. But because we're in a pandemic, it's almost like, honestly, at this point, I'm like, I don't even care. Just the fact that it was a kaiju movie that has been on the top box office for almost 3 weeks in a row.
Right.
It's a dream come true for kaiju fans, and I'm so happy about that. It's like a big fresh breath of fresh air,
And it's crazy when you think about it too, because I think it's hit $80 million domestically, right?
Right.
Which means the rest of the world is knocking it out of the park. Now, $80 million domestically during a pandemic is huge, but not only during a pandemic, it's also available on HBO Max. So yes. You have to factor that in. People are going to the movies to see this.
And it's also the number one thing being viewed on HBO Max at the same time.
I tell you right now, HBO Max, just as an aside, last night, me and the wife watched Zack Snyder's Justice League again. Because, we watched it when it first dropped that Thursday. And I had to work yesterday on a Saturday. I had to work. And when I came home, I was like, you know what? I just need to unwind. And I want to watch Justice League again. Because I knew that I was going to go see Godzilla vs. Kong in the theaters today. So I was like, I'm watching Justice League here right now, and then tomorrow I'm going to go see Godzilla vs. Kong in the theater again. And I did. And it's crazy because right now HBO Max has two of my favorite fucking movies of 2021 streaming for whatever I pay a month. $14.99 and $15 a month. And I can't get tired of them. Yes, Justice League is 4 hours and Godzilla vs. Kong is an hour and, close to 2 hours. But good God Almighty, I can't get tired of neither one of them. And I'm excited, bro. But it's on HBO Max. And it's a pandemic. And Godzilla vs. Kong is close to $400 million. What is going on, people? It just goes to show that when you make a good movie, it doesn't matter if the world is burning around, people are going to go see it. And it's evident with these numbers. It is evident with these numbers. And, I have my gripes with King of the Monsters, but I never thought in a million years that Godzilla vs. Kong would have changed my mindset towards King of the Monsters so much. Whereas I'm not in a minority because we see these box office numbers happening when I say this movie is absolutely better than King of the Monsters. You see it in the box office during a pandemic and while it's on HBO Max. So you could agree or disagree with me. That's fine. I have zero problems with any disagreements. It's all about personal taste and choice. But the numbers don't lie. And if this movie right now is outpacing King of the Monsters, which came out during a pandemic, and there was no free way to watch it at home, not free, but a subscription-based way to watch it at home, it just goes to show this is a better made movie. And it's a better movie altogether.
Well, yeah, I completely agree. And the thing is, watching King of the Monsters and then watching Godzilla vs. Kong, it's a night and day difference.
Yes.
It's such a night and day difference. And I don't mean that, but it's just, the way I mean that isn't just the way it's paced, the way it's executed, the way the animation is in the film. It just, King of the Monsters feels like, it's almost like a very slow, drivey film because it has this tone in it that, well, it has a tone that's all over the place because it doesn't know what type of movie it wants to be. Whereas Godzilla vs. Kong, you get a complete set tone. You get a film that's executed the way it wants to be executed. And I was watching 2014, and then I was watching King of the Monsters, and then I watched Godzilla vs. Kong. And I was looking at the differences, and I'm like, and that's when I brought up to the group chat, why is it that out of all of these directors, Michael Dougherty was the one that could not capture the scale of these monsters correctly? Because, I mean, like, there's times in King of the Monsters where these monsters appear huge on screen, like, especially when it's, like, people on the ground looking up. But you don't feel like these monsters are huge. But when you watch 2014 and you watch Godzilla vs. Kong and you see how big these monsters are on screen in certain segments, you're like, wow, that is big. Like, when Kong shows up at maybe not Kong. Of course, the bridge scene in 2014 when Godzilla pops up on the bridge and he saves the kids from the bus. You get an epic scale of that, and Gareth Edwards pulled it off brilliantly. But then in Godzilla vs. Kong, it's in one of the. Let's take the Mechagodzilla battle at the end, for instance, when Mechagodzilla shoves Godzilla's face through the building, and there's the chairs and everything.
One of my favorite parts. Yes,
that is such a. You feel like these monsters are huge, and it reminded me of a Pacific Rim battle.
Okay.
And I'm like, how come in King of the Monsters, Godzilla, even though he is huge, and these monsters are huge, they just seem so small on scale on camera. And, I mean, that's not a make or break of the film, but I just feel like the differences between all of these films, the way they were done, it's just, one felt very rushed. And I think that was King of the Monsters. There's a lot of things about King of the Monsters that, I mean, we've been finding out later that never happened. And there's been a lot of things that, like, don't make sense about it. And there's a lot of things that shouldn't be in the film. But whereas and now that we know that Godzilla vs. Kong had a lot of footage cut out of it too.
It did.
It did. It's like, well, how come King of the Monsters, even though it had footage cut out of it as well, why couldn't we have gotten still just as good as a movie? And it just makes me, it's like the differences are just night and day of the quality of the film. The quality of Godzilla vs. Kong is just so much better.
It feels like the wrong things were cut out of King of the Monsters.
Right. Right. I mean, there was supposed to be, even 2014 had some scenes cut out of it, but I mean, I'll take it for granted if that naval battle scene with, well, not the naval battle, but the scene where the Hawk Muto comes and attacks Godzilla in the ocean, if that scene was in there, I think Godzilla 2014 could have used that. But that doesn't make it more or less of a good or worse movie. I just see the differences of King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong, and it's like Adam. I felt like Adam Wingard or Wingard. He had more of an idea that was more relaxed to him. You know, he had more of a calm, focused vision of what he wanted, a more firm set vision. And I feel like Michael Dougherty's, there was a lot of, well, what if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do this? Well, let's change this. You know, it was just so over the place.
Wow.
And it's not that I dislike Mike Dougherty. I think he could be a great director. He's a great director, you know. But with Godzilla, King of the Monsters, something does not fit. You know, you get into this film and it's almost like one of these things is not like the other, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I still love King of the Monsters because it has some of the greatest kaiju shots in it.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, you go and see Godzilla versus Kong and you want kaiju fights, that movie nails it. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. And that's one of those things I've seen. And again, this is not a spoiler now. The movie's been out 2.5 weeks. If you're watching this, you've already seen it. I hear a lot of people complaining about the Mecha Godzilla fight. Oh, it's so short. Oh, Godzilla gets his ass. Oh, Kong comes, saves the day. Listen, the movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong. We get 3 fights with Godzilla and Kong. So, make no mistake about it. The movie title delivered what the movie title was. Delivered in spades. The first fight was fantastic. The second fight was fantastic, and then the third fight, which is, you know, all melded into the second fight, the Hong Kong sequence, was great. And then Mechagodzilla comes, starts kicking Godzilla's ass. Kong gets up and, you know, tears up shop, and Godzilla and Kong work together to defeat this thing. It's fantastic. But the movie absolutely delivers on what it's called. It's Godzilla versus Kong, and Godzilla and Kong fought 3 times. And then they fight together. So, you know, like, I just wanted to throw that out there. But you oh my God, now I lost the point you made that I wanted to, like, build upon. Saying Michael Dougherty had, you know, all these ideas and was kind of like, and I'm you know, not saying it the way you just said it, but like he had all these ideas and was like, let's see what sticks. Whereas Adam Wingard was like mellowed and was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Yet, in my personal opinion, Adam Wingard had more pressure on his shoulders because he's got to deal with 2 icons of cinema.
That's true.
You know, and don't get me wrong. See, here's the difference between King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. With King of the Monsters, and again, I don't hate that movie. I dislike certain things about that movie. If you took certain things out of that movie, that's one of the greatest monster movies of all time. It really is. It delivers. But Michael Dougherty was more, he had to deal with Godzilla fans, right? That's what he had to deal with. He had to deal with Godzilla fans and the lore of Toho. Adam Wingard didn't have to deal with that. What he had to deal with, though, is the legacy of King Kong and the legacy of Godzilla. That is more pressure, in my personal opinion, because you have people who might not like Godzilla movies, but like King Kong movies, right? People who might have seen Peter Jackson's 2005 Kong, but did not go see 1998's Godzilla, you know? Or any Godzilla movie that came out in theaters within our lifespan. Well, for me, for instance, 1985, Godzilla 2000, you know, and of course 98, which, you know, Godzilla quotations. So, like, Wingard had so much more pressure on his shoulders because he had to deliver the goods for 2 giant, and I mean that no pun intended, icons. Whereas Dougherty had to just be like, he had to fan service the Toho heads.
And if you think about it, he had to do actually more because you have another Toho monster along that franchise as well.
Absolutely.
You know? And but see, that's the thing, with all that pressure, and he still executed a movie that he did. I mean, heavily edited, but a movie that still worked. That is talent. If you can rip out some of the guts of a film and make a film to fit your cinema and to fit the times and still make it considered a success, that's great. And you know what? Wingard, come back and make more.
I agree.
I wouldn't mind.
I think Michael Dougherty would have had more success with King of the Monsters had that come out in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Because that's when Transformers was boom. And again, it's funny when you look at it like this. Holy crap! It just hit me right now. Bing! It just brain sucked me. Michael Dougherty's King of the Monsters had the Michael Bay Transformer-esque jokes that I hate. And I've said this a million times. The jokes in King of the Monsters do not land for me. I hate all of that. When you call Ghidorah gonorrhea, you just took, decades worth of Godzilla's greatest foe and made a fucking a shit joke out of it. Yeah, you shitted on it. And it's terrible. It's the king of terror. Godzilla's the king of the monsters. Ghidorah's the king of terror, and it's Godzilla's greatest foe. And he shit on it.
And then it's like that joke just doesn't even make any sense because Ghidorah and that nasty word don't even rhyme.
Exactly.
They don't even play well with each other, and that's just
it's terrible.
Come on, like did a 3-year-old write that joke?
Right, but it felt like a Michael Bay Transformer joke because that's what Michael Bay was doing with the Transformers, making these stupid jokes and making these just dumb
It was
decisions.
a Michael Bay Dougherty joke.
Michael Bay Dougherty joke. That is fucking hysterics. And then at the same time, you look at Adam Wingard and what's everybody saying about Adam Wingard's Mechagodzilla? All looks like a Transformer. And it even sounds like a Transformer. So yes, it sounds like the Michael Bay. So it's funny, it just hit me right now. It's like, you know what? But what Dougherty did was he took the bad jokes. Now, I'm honestly not going to put all the blame on Michael Dougherty here. I think that might have been studio interference. Because this dude, and you go back to previous podcasts from 2018 and 19 before King of the Monsters came out, this dude loves Godzilla. He loves it.
He absolutely does.
He loves it. He put heart and soul into that movie. I don't think he was going to make jokes like that. I honestly don't. And again, I go back. You look at 2014 Godzilla, and then you look at 2019 King of the Monsters. And it's like, if you take those jokes out, this movie can absolutely flow as a continuation. But the jokes all of a sudden, even with the automatically weird-ass technological advances in King of the Monsters, the Argo and Area G and all that shit that Monarch did within the span of 5 years, fine, I could buy that. The jokes. I don't think that was a Dougherty decision. I honestly don't, because if you look at his previous works, and I use Krampus as an example, Krampus is a tongue-in-cheek horror movie. Yeah. It's almost satire. And it works on every level. It works. I loved Krampus. I was like, this movie is fucking dope. He doesn't do the cheap jokes. I think it was studio interference, and I think the studio heard and understood, okay, that didn't work because the people gave up on that movie right away. And look,
well, at the end of the day, the studios have to look at the reviews of what the critics and the fans are saying. Mostly what the fans are saying.
And the money.
Yeah.
And the money. And it's being proven right now. It's being proven right now, whereas Godzilla vs. Kong is outpacing King of the Monsters during a pandemic and with it on HBO Max. So that might have been, and I honestly believe that it was studio interference, so I take nothing away from Michael Dougherty, with the exception of, and you know it, Rodan's Raw. Damn you, Michael Dougherty, for changing that. You're dirty rotten. You're dirty rotten. I still love you.
That's what Wingard should have done for a post-credit scene.
Right.
Rodan actually roaring.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? So, when you talk, I want to jump into this. When we talk about taking things out, right? I'm reading the novel. I'm still reading the novel right now. There's a lot of things taken out, and the novel like fills in the blanks with a lot. Skull Island, Godzilla, also the comic books. I will say, Godzilla Dominion, I thoroughly enjoyed that more than the Kingdom Kong.
Yeah.
Way more. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I didn't hate Kingdom Kong. I dug it. But I don't know. It was like they explained certain things. They explained why the storm is now like engulfing Skull Island. That was cool. But Godzilla Dominion, what I liked about it. So when Godzilla vs Kong comes, out and the title screen happens, the titles, and it's showing, all of the Titans, and it says defeated, and you're like, wait, did Godzilla kill them all? Dominion explains that, and I'm like, yes. Hell, even in the novelization, it kind of explains it. They don't go into as much detail as in the Dominion comic, but basically it was Godzilla just putting his foot down and saying, yo, time to go, pack it up. We don't need to be doing this right now. Get the fuck out of here. And if you give me some problems, I'm going to handle it. And that's what that book was, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was from Godzilla's point of view, too, so I dug it. Whereas with Kingdom Kong, it was kind of all over the place, especially with Camazotz. I was kind of like, wait, so they fought this thing before, and now it's in Skull Island, but they're not explaining what happened. Huh? Oh. Yeah, I was kind of that kind of threw me for a loop and pissed me off.
I just got all the comic books and the novelization like 2 days ago. So I'm looking forward to like pick through them, but yeah, I mean, I just kind of skimming through Kingdom Kong. It was like, yeah,
dude, yeah, exactly. It's a gorgeous book to look at. The artwork is on point in both books. But Dominion is, it's Godzilla handling his business between King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, whereas Kingdom Kong, like I said, they give more emphasis on what happened to Skull Island, which I love, but at the same time, what the hell, what Camazotz, like, it was just, they don't explain, and it's kind of like, it's jarring. I'm like, okay. So, but yeah, outside of that, dug it, dig the backstories, Godzilla vs. Kong novelization, really, really dig that. They, there's so much there. Kong, how they capture Kong to put him on the ship, all of that. And I thoroughly enjoy the way they do things, and it's not like they're trying to hurt Kong, and it seems like Kong gets it, but he's kind of like, dude, no, nah, I don't want to do it, but I mean, like, so I love, I kind of dig it so far. Right now, Godzilla and Kong just fought on the, in the water, in the Tasman Sea, and right now I'm at where Mechagodzilla pops up. No, I'm lying. I'm actually in the Hollow Earth, but I digress. It's good. It's really good. I'm thoroughly enjoying reading it, and in all honesty, we know the rumors from before with this movie was cut down, whatever the case may be. Still a phenomenal movie on its own right. The novelization gives you more in-depth shit it's a great companion piece. I highly recommend it for any Godzilla vs. Kong fans, or Godzilla or Kong fans in general. It's good, and I cannot wait to finish it.
Yeah, that's one of the things, too, thinking about what Wingard did. And I remember when we were all worried about, like, what's going to happen with Godzilla vs. Kong? Who's going to win? Right. And I'm glad, like, technically a lot of us were all wrong and all right at the same time, which we got the definitive winner, but yet none of them died.
Yes.
Which is glad. And we got our epic team-up battle that we wanted. I'm glad with how Wingard handled that. I think the way leaving it where Godzilla is king of the monsters and Kong is king of his own right.
Right.
I'm glad how that was handled, because I think taking away a moniker of king of the monsters from an icon like Godzilla would be kind of very, very thievery. And I wouldn't want to change almost 60 plus years of history just for a. So I'm glad Wingard kept that respect to both monsters,
Yeah.
And I hold on 1 second. I'm happy with how that left off, and I'm actually very thoroughly interested to see what could else be done, and I would like just to see maybe some more Kong stuff.
I agree.
More Kong stuff, and I would love to see, maybe somewhere, now they could do their destroy all monsters, and it takes place in the Hollow Earth.
Now,
because who knows what's in that Hollow Earth? I think they need to explore that place.
Oh,
you get all those Godzilla sub monsters, all those monsters that look like Godzilla mutations and stuff. And I think we need to figure out what's going on there. They could find that could be your way where you get two actual full-fledged Godzillas fighting each other. You get a Godzilla subspecies pops out in the Hollow Earth and comes to surface, and and Godzilla don't like it because it's a bad cousin of him that him had problems with. I think that'd be kind of cool. Just skimming what could happen next. But no, I'm excited to see what could happen next and what will happen. I appreciate Legendary and Warner Brothers coming out and saying, well, Legendary mostly, but Legendary thanking the fans for the for making Godzilla vs Kong a success. I appreciate that acknowledgement, and I think I'm glad because Godzilla vs Kong earned it.
Yes.
I think it deserved it, and I'm glad. It just feels like such a relief because I had this feeling like this movie was not going to do well.
I know you did. We have podcasts where you're Debbie Downers.
Podcasts.
Yeah, you're all like, this movie's gonna suck, and I'm like, shut up, Jace, don't put that out there. But here we are.
I feel like in a way I jinxed it because, and that's the reality of the world telling me, be careful what you wish for. And I'm like, ha, screw you, world. I got what I wanted.
So we go back to before King of the Monsters came out, and we're like, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever, and we jinxed that.
Yep.
And then you were like, Godzilla vs Kong is gonna suck, and then you jinxed that. So the roles reversed. Nice.
Yep. I feel like I do that a lot. Even in my own life.
I'll tell you. So I want to say, as of right now, as of today, I've seen Godzilla vs Kong 3 times in the theater, right? And I've seen it. I don't even count. I can't even remember how many times I've watched it at home already. But so I'm gonna break this down. When I saw King of the Monsters, right? I saw it in my favorite theater at the time. I saw it in the Cinemark XD theater, right? And I was like, yeah, I was open, loved it because I love the XD theater. But then I had other tickets because I saw it in the XD with my brother the first 2 times. We did back-to-back shows, right? I bought one round, he bought the next round, and we did back-to-back opening night. But then I had to take my family. I had to take my wife, my kid, right? I had gotten tickets to the Dolby Theater. Went to the Dolby Theater and fell in love with it, right?
Yes.
So when so the Dolby Theater, when I seen King of the Monsters in the Dolby Theater, I was in love. I was like, oh my God, the visuals, the sound, it just blew me out of the water. It was the best thing ever. So that was 2019. The next big movie from that was in May. The next big movie in 2019 came from Star Wars. There was also Avengers Endgame, which I think came out before King of the Monsters. I don't remember. But either way. So then it was Star Wars in December, right? And I'm a Star Wars guy, you know this. In that point in time, my Cinemark XD, which is my favorite theater to go to, not only because it's closer to me, but because I enjoy the XD experience, well, it was going through a renovation. They were doing the luxury lounge chairs, so I didn't go see it. But at this time now, I'm like, I don't even care about the XD because King of the Monsters and the Dolby Theater blew me out of the water. There's no way I don't go see Star Wars in the Dolby Theater. So we go see Rise of Skywalker in the Dolby Theater. Did not know that would be like the last big budget blockbuster that I seen in the movie theaters. Because I think I seen 2 other movies before the pandemic hit, right? Before Hedora started flying around the world.
Yeah, I saw Onward. That was the last film I saw.
Yeah, and I think it was, for me, I think it was The Dead Don't Die or whatever it was with Bill Murray and Adam Driver. Or the zombie movie. It was like a zombie comedy thing.
Yeah.
And I saw that like literally like 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. And I saw that in a regular theater. So I hadn't been to any one of these theaters. Well, now Godzilla Vs Kong comes out. And of course, the first thing, Dolby Theater, because King of the Monsters blew me away. Rise of Skywalker looked good, whether I liked the movie or not. It still was visually entertaining, right? In the theater. So we booked the two showings at Dolby Theater. Get them, boom. Watch it. I come out of the I enjoyed the movie, but I come out of the theater. I'm like, wait, for whatever reason, it didn't hit me like King of the Monsters did when I saw it there. Like King of the Monsters jumped out the screen and blasted my eyeballs out of my head. Godzilla vs. Kong, for whatever reason, didn't. It felt like it was just a standard def movie in the Dolby Theater. And it should have been, because before the movie started, it was giving you the whole, this is a regular movie experience, this is the Dolby experience. And then the sound was just unbelievable. My chair was rocking. I said that in the review. Then I went home and I watched it on my television with my surround sound. And my television was like, yo, this shit, right? Like, everything felt good. So now, I want to watch it in XD. I have not been to the Cinemark since King of the Monsters. I have not been to the XD since King of the Monsters 2019. Because then they were renovating it for the luxury lounge chairs. And then Hedora decided to destroy the world. So I haven't been there. And I'm like, I gotta buy tickets. Last week I was like, I'm gonna get these tickets. I'm gonna go. I actually did try to purchase the tickets, but for whatever reason, the app wasn't working. So I went to Fandango. And then Fandango was giving me problems. And I'm like, what the hell? Fuck it. I'm gonna sit home. I'm gonna watch it at home. Whatever. Well, like I said, yesterday I had to work. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to see this in the movie theaters. And I'm going to see it in XD. Because I, one, have not been there since King of the Monsters in 2019. And 2, I've got to watch Godzilla vs. Kong there because now they got the luxury recliners. And it's not going to be in the XD next week because Mortal Kombat comes out next week. So I'm booking my tickets. I got my ticket, boom. 5 o'clock this morning. I'm up, booked the ticket, going. And I went to the XD. And I tell you, man, if there's one thing I was like, man, and I love that theater. I love that theater. It's in a casino. The casino was packed. I'm panicking because Hedora cases are on the rise out here. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? But I get into the theater, and it was like probably 15 people in the entire theater. But somebody decided, because I bought one ticket. When I booked the theater, nobody was there. When I booked my ticket, nobody was there. There was somebody directly in front of me. I'm like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you move to the side? It's something like, what the fuck? Anyway, I digress. There's like 15 people in the theater. I wind up moving 2 seats over. There was nobody in the row where I was at. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The sound was great. The visuals was great. So I've seen Godzilla vs. Kong 3 times in movie theaters. And I don't know how many times I've seen it at home. But I will say this. At my house, And not because of COVID or Hedora, none of that shit. But visually, HBO Max gave it to you in 4K, UHD, all Dolby Cinema style, all the shit. My TV and soundbar gave me the greatest theater experience of all time. Yo, I'd rather watch GVK at home on HBO Max because everything popped off the screen. There's only one other movie that ever done that and that's Avengers Infinity War. And I've said this numerous times. Thanos is sitting in my living room in the beginning of that movie. He's sitting in my living room like, oh my God. It's like, that's what Godzilla Vs Kong does for me on my TV. It just pops off my screen. It's like watching a hologram. It's insane. I don't know how to explain it. All I'm telling you is that's the feeling I got. Yes, the Dolby Theater, the sound was incredible, but the visuals felt standard for Dolby Theater. XD, it looked good, and the sound was dope, and I dug the luxury recliners now that I finally got to do it, got to, be a part of it. It's only been almost 2 years, but HBO Max has got it down pat. If you have the TV and sound system, either one, it delivers in every freaking way. I'm going to watch Godzilla vs. Kong at least 5 more times, maybe 6, maybe 8, maybe 10 more times. I know for a fact when I get my second shot and I'm taking off the next day, I'm watching Godzilla vs. Kong to get me through whatever symptoms I might be feeling. But watching it at home, brother, and it's not because it's at home during the pandemic. I'm just saying, HBO Max, with everything they did, it shines. It absolutely shines. And I went to watch King of the Monsters on HBO Max, and it doesn't have any of that UHD or 4K stuff. I have the 4K disc. I put it in and I watch it, but it absolutely shines. And yesterday when I watched Justice League, same thing. All that shit popped up, UHD, 4K, and it shined. And I was like, man. So massive props to HBO Max. The only thing is, nothing really does beat watching it on a big screen. The details you see, the little things you might not notice on your television, even though I got a nice sized television. And it looked fantastic. It looks better on my television than it did in the theaters. But the theaters didn't slouch on me, except for the Dolby. I really feel like the Dolby played me. Because again, King of the Monsters blew my freaking head
King of the Monsters. But also, King of the Monsters was also, when they designed the film, the sound, they went ahead and put forth, like, this movie's going to be fit for a Dolby Atmos. And that's the difference. If films aren't filmed for that, they're not going to sound as great.
But it wasn't even a sound. The sound was great in GVK and Dolby. It was the visuals. The visuals in King of the Monsters, it felt like you were there watching this happen live in your face. It was amazing. Whereas GVK just felt like you're at the theater. It was weird. Yeah. But when I came home, it was in my it like jumped off the TV again. It's like you're there. HBO Max did a really good job with that conversion, and I hope that at the end of this month, when it leaves HBO Max, we have to wait a whole freaking month. I think June 14th when we get to buy the home release, and then I don't know how long you have to wait for that. But when it comes back to HBO Max, I hope they do it in that format, in the 4K UHD Dolby Atmos cinema thing. I really do hope, because I love that movie at home. I love it. It just, dude, I watch it so much because it looks so good.
I remember the first time I watched it on my TV at my home too. I thought I was a little giddy too, because I'm like, this is kind of, I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. I should be at the theater watching this, and I'm watching it in my bedroom.
Right.
But it looked great. It looked great on my TV in my bedroom. The one thing is I could pause it if I have to pee.
Exactly.
That's the one thing you can't do at the theater. So it's like, I don't have to wait 2 hours drinking or make sure I don't drink too much while I'm watching this. I can just do what I want.
Absolutely.
And then hit that pause button.
So there were some things I noticed today while I was watching the movie. Yeah, minor things. Well, first off, I have two gripes with this movie. Just two. Right? And both of them come from Godzilla. Now, it's not the amount of screen time. I personally don't care about that. And I get a lot of people are mad, it's called Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla's in the movie for like 5 minutes. I don't think it's 5 minutes. I don't really care. Godzilla is absolutely menacing in this movie. And we're watching it today on a Cinemark XD screen, on the nice reclining seats, eating Raisinets and drinking orange vanilla Coca-Cola. I cheated. I was supposed to do cherry Coke, but I did orange vanilla because you can't find it out anymore. Anyhow, I'm watching it, and when Godzilla first appears, well, number one, my first gripe. When Godzilla first comes out of the water, I wish that shot was different, because when he comes out of the water and roars, the mouth kind of looks like female genitalia. I didn't like that shot. I think it's terrible, but that is a...
What's funny is about that shot, I almost thought like it was mechanical. It looks very mechanical to me. And I remember seeing that in the trailer. I'm like, you know what? I bet that's Mechagodzilla. Oh, well, look what we were wrong about.
Oh, that was in a trailer?
They did do a trailer. They did do a teaser a while back when they showed that shot.
I'm glad I didn't see that, because I would have been pissed off going into that movie like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
See, it's things like that I'm glad I didn't see. It looks like a vagina, and I'm like, oh, God, it's terrible. Granted, it's only for a split second, but it's there, and I would have done a side shot. I would have done a profile shot so you can see Godzilla on a profile come up, raw, with his spines glowing, the eyes are glowing, everything. By the way, and this is where I'm leading to, like, the little tidbits I noticed this time. I'm not saying this is what it was, but if you wanted to look at it in this way, when Godzilla comes up there, his eyes are glowing. You don't see any pupils. They're just glowing. They're just blue, which... maybe it's kind of a homage to GMK, where the eyes are just white. I don't know. I'm just saying. Happens twice in the movie. Happens twice in the movie. Maybe it's just a little homage. I'm not saying that's what it is, but if you want to look at it like that, it's not like you could be wrong, even though the eyes are glowing and the other ones are just pale. So that's one, and of course, the one I've said in the previous podcast, the bellow. You need the bellow in the movie. You can't have Godzilla just start to scream and not bellow at the end. That is an iconic sound. Anybody hears that, you know that's Godzilla. And I'm talking about, hell, even millennials would know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is Godzilla's iconic sound. You need the bellow. I sat in the movie theater until the credits finished rolling so I can hear that bellow at the end. And when I hear that bellow at the end, all I think to myself is, it ain't over. It ain't over. Whether Toho takes it now or not, it ain't over. And that's what I love. At the end of the movie, twice now, you hear Godzilla. The first one was in Kong Skull Island, and then this one. So I'm totally cool with that. But there needed to be more bellows. When Kong is down and Godzilla is pressing his foot down on his chest, Godzilla should have bellowed there. He should have screamed in his face and then ended it with a bellow just to let Kong know.
You know what's funny is I have the Godzilla Light and Sound Playmates figure, and he bellows.
And that's the only... literally. I'm telling you guys honest truth. Those are the only two things that I don't like about this movie. As I watch it more and more and more and more, I really do love this movie. I love it. There's nothing I don't like. And I get a lot of people talking about Ren Serizawa. Personally, he could have just been some random dude with the last name of Serizawa. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, think about it right now. Anybody listening to this podcast, think about your last name. You're not the only one with it outside of your family. You know what I mean? So...
well, if you think about it, nothing in this Godzilla vs. Kong trailer or this movie, like when the trailers, none of them focus at all on the cast.
Right.
None of them. They're just here. Here's just these actors talking. They're not going to explain what's going on. It's not human centric at all. It's not story driven on a humanic front at all.
Right.
If you want anything, really, it's the little girl and Kong that they mostly talk about, and then Godzilla in there.
Which honestly, again, is one of the things that I love the most about this movie is that relationship between Gia and Kong. And Gia and Eileen, for that matter, her surrogate mother.
Yeah.
I love the relationships. And again, Adam Wingard plays it straight. I said this before. The jokes may be corny. They may be safe. But what they don't do, and you're seeing it now with the box office, is they don't offend. They don't offend. And that works. That works. We're here to see the monsters fight. That's really all we want. Right? How good is this going to look? So, I love it. But one of the things I loved, right, in the beginning, Godzilla. Yo, it's the first time in the MONSTERVERSE we see Godzilla actually doing damage to the humans. And I'm not talking about what he's doing to Apex. I'm talking about he's shooting his atomic breath at planes. But this is a classic.
Too.
Yeah, this is Toho tropes. This is Toho tropes we have not seen yet in the MONSTERVERSE. And I'm like, oh my God. And again, I've seen this movie a bunch of times. And it took me the Cinemark screen, like seriously, like the theater again, the theater experience to recognize, holy shit, this is Toho tropes. There's another Toho trope that they've never done before. And 2014 did it. In Hawaii, split second, but really because, remember, Gareth Edwards set up the final reveal, but when Godzilla's walking through the buildings in Hawaii, you see the leg move, they start shooting, then you just see the tail going around the building. No, when Godzilla lands in Hong Kong, dude, it's a Toho shot. It's the shot of the street, long shot of the street, and then there goes Godzilla's leg, and people are running towards the camera, and it's like, oh my God. I loved it. I loved it. Those little moments, right, where you see Godzilla from the Heisei series, the not quite so good Godzilla of the Showa series, like those moments just hit so hard. And I don't think any director has come close to that in the MONSTERVERSE except for Adam Wingard. Because think about this. Doherty had Godzilla in the Arctic, right? Then Doherty had Godzilla in the water, fighting King Ghidorah, right? Then Doherty had Godzilla just trying to regain his strength. And then they did Boston, right? Gareth Edwards had Godzilla in Hawaii, but you couldn't really, it was quick cuts, and Godzilla in San Francisco. That was it. I still love that movie. But Wingard was like, yeah, here's Godzilla in the water, and here's Godzilla. Here's Godzilla, first of all, in Florida, destroying everything, but he's destroying planes. He's, using his atomic breath. We didn't get that in the other movies. Here he is, using the atomic breath, destroying planes. Any Heisei movie you look at, any Godzilla movie, that is a staple. We got that here. We got the staple. I loved it. I fucking loved it. And, dude. And then another thing, and this, I think this is for the fans, the Eagle Eye fans. I'm watching it on the big screen, and I peeped this for the first time today. And I'm going to say this, so now y'all go and peep it. If y'all haven't already peeped it. Watching it on a big screen, at the end of the movie, right? Godzilla and Mechagodzilla going at it. You had Josh and Bernie. They're trying to find the password to shut Mechagodzilla down, correct?
Right.
Dude, on the screen, right? Where you see, Mechagodzilla, there are numbers there. Holy shit, check this out. And I'm telling you, this shit is intentional. For those who know, to get. I saw it, and I put it in my phone. I couldn't believe it. On the board, right? You have Mechagodzilla, and it's not the full thing because they're focused. Really, the focus is on Josh and Bernie, but the screen is in front of them. If you look on the board, there's 3 sets of numbers. One of those numbers is flickering back and forth. It's 64. It's 74 and 75. And then it's like 29 or some shit. Right? But think about this. Godzilla's fighting Mechagodzilla, who is now actually not in control. And Serizawa's not in control. It's Ghidorah in control. 1964. Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. Right? That's the release date. Yeah. And then 74, and it flicked to 75. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla. Bro, I'm not making that up. Y'all can go and watch that on HBO Max if you want to, and pause it. I fucking lost it in the theater. I was like, oh my God! It's those little things. Again, Sublevel 33. That's Kong. 1933 King Kong, the original. Right? What's in Sublevel 33? Skullcrawler eggs. It's Kong. But this one, I saw for the first time today, and I will never not see it now. 64, 74, and 75. And the 74 and 75 were flicking back and forth. I thought that is genius. And I'll tell you right now, if I ever met Adam Wingard, I'm going to be like, straight up, I don't care about anything else in the movie. These numbers. You knew, didn't you? These numbers. You knew, didn't you? I'm telling you, it's there. It's there, and I'm not making this up. Y'all can see it for yourself. You go to the end of that movie when Josh and Bernie is doing, just look at the screen, don't pay attention to them. You will see these numbers. I'm not sure if it's 29. It could be, I think it might be 29, which makes no sense because there's nothing in 29. And then I was like, maybe it's 92 backwards, maybe it's a trick. But I'm telling you, it's definitely 74 that flicks to 75. It goes back and forth, 74, 75, and then it's 64. And all of that is there. It's King Ghidorah, it's Mechagodzilla twice, and King Ghidorah is operating Mechagodzilla. Dude, fan service is there if you know where to look. It's those little things. It's the little things. And this one was one of those really little things that's so obscure. If you don't know, you won't know. You know what I'm saying? And I fucking loved it. I'm telling y'all, go check that shit out. I'm not making it up. I'm not. Go watch the movie. You'll see it yourself. But yeah, it was those things, man. I was blown away by it. I was like, yeah, oh my God. It's so cool, bro. It's just so cool that he knows. And that's what makes me respect it even more. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, you know, it's funny. Like, they kept all of his interviews, Adam Wingard's interviews, kind of on wraps until the film popped out. And now there's tons of Adam Wingard interviews with him talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. And you can really tell, like, you know, he's just as big as a fan as anyone else is. You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I think they got all 4 directors right. I do. I honestly believe that all 4 directors was the right choices. Gareth Edwards, Voight Roberts, Jordan Voight Roberts, right? Yes.
Yeah, Jordan Voight Roberts.
Michael Dougherty and Adam Wingard. I honestly believe that all 4 of these dudes, especially Gareth Edwards.
And now that we know, Jordan Voight Roberts is doing a live-action Gundam movie for Netflix.
Which is insane. I can't wait for that. And I'm not even a Gundam head. But with him attached and the writer, Brian K. Vaughan, I'm in. I love Brian K. Vaughan. I'm in. I cannot wait to see what they do. And maybe that makes me go watch Gundam. And that's kudos. But after watching Godzilla vs. Kong again today on a big screen, and like I said, I'm going to watch it plenty more times before it leaves. Because it's leaving soon. 31 days is almost up. So it's almost on its way out. But I'm going to watch it several more times. I honestly believe if you're going to do another one, you bring back Adam Wingard.
I think so too.
You bring him back. He nailed it.
And I think give him the tools and the time to helm the movie that he really wants to, and you can go ahead and give us that 3-hour-long kaiju movie if you do a last one or a final one. Go ahead and do that. Do us the most epic send-off you can for a kaiju movie in this universe. I think I would be totally okay with that.
Absolutely. And if not, then honestly, you can't not continue this MonsterVerse. You just can't. You just can't. And look, and I'm going to put it like this. In 1998, people did not like that movie. They did not like that movie. But what does Sony go and do anyway? They made an animated series. And what happens? People are like, the people who hated the movie are like, oh shit, this is dope.
Yep.
People like this movie. As a whole, this is a perfect way to, I don't want to wrap the franchise up, and I was one of those people who were like, this is the end. No, I don't want it to end anymore, right? Like, I have seen the light. You have given me what I need.
The way I feel is, and look, I'm kind of glad, I get people are upset. People are always going to bitch about Godzilla's screen time.
Oh, yes.
Even if they watch the Toho movies, Godzilla's screen time. And it's just ridiculous. But I actually feel like Godzilla had enough screen time in this. Because, look, after that Tasman Sea battle, one of the biggest set pieces in that film, what else could you do with Godzilla till the final battle? I mean, he can't fight Kong again, and, Mechagodzilla's not supposed to be in it yet. What could you do?
Right.
I mean, you could have had a more story-driven part where he goes into another Apex Center and blows it up, but why? Why would you shoehorn that? There's nothing you could have done. And the thing is, it gives you a breath of fresh air after seeing Kong almost die.
Yes.
At that point, because Godzilla was going to kill Kong, that was it, and there's nothing you could have done, and I like that. In a way, I kind of like that this film is more centricated on Kong than Godzilla, because Godzilla is supposed to be the trump card. He's supposed to be the god,
right?
And if you would have had it to where it had more Godzilla in it, it kind of would have taken that away a little bit. Because, that final battle, when you see Godzilla's just like, I'm fed up. Because if you think about it in a way, Godzilla really wasn't there. Well, he was and he wasn't. But he was there for Apex in Hong Kong because they pressed him to lure him in.
Right.
And, is at that point, Godzilla's like, all right, I'm fed up. I'm done with you. You're a little nuisance to me. I'm going to squash you and put you in your place. And that's what he did to Kong, like what he has been doing to the other Titans.
Right.
And I like that because that's how it should have been. And I know there's people that are upset because Mechagodzilla mopped the floor with Godzilla. And I'm like, but that's what's supposed to happen.
It happens in every Toho movie.
Yeah, every Toho film, even the Kiryu Saga films. Now a Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, Godzilla gets away and stuff, but still, it still ends with Mechagodzilla taking Godzilla to his sleeping place.
Yes.
And I think like it's how it's supposed to be. Someone put a nice little meme together the other day, and they did it for King of the Monsters 2 with Ghidorah, but it was with Mechagodzilla, and they're doing their beam battles.
Yes.
And it's like, I think you and I are destined to do this forever. And I love that. I thought that was a beautiful thing, because yes, do it forever. But the thing is this Mechagodzilla to me is amazing, and I have no problems with it. But the screen time with Godzilla, it felt very well done. Because when Godzilla is on screen, it's not half-assed, and it's not a middle finger.
Because when he's on screen, he is the king of the monsters.
Yes.
And I think that's what people are missing. If you go back to 2014 and come to this point, Godzilla, as a character, has an arc. A complete arc. And you take nothing away from what Michael Dougherty did with him. Again, I disagree with certain things from that movie, but I don't think that was his choice. But what Godzilla comes in as a savior of humanity, and it says King of the Monsters, savior of humanity in that movie because the Mutos awoke, right? Remember, Godzilla was in the water like, what are y'all doing? Oh, and this is another thing I got to put in real quick. One of the things I loved about the book that I was like, oh shit, that's dope. That in the movie, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, sure, why not? It makes sense. But when I read the book, I was like, that makes so much sense. That's dope. When Godzilla and Kong first fight in the water, in the Tasman Sea, and then Nathan says, shut everything down. We got to make it look like we're dead. He got that from, oh my God, your boy, Millie Bobby Brown's father. Why can't I remember?
Oh, Mark Russell.
Mark Russell. He got it from him because in the book he's like, when he worked at Monarch and he would have interactions with Mark Russell, he remembered Mark Russell saying Godzilla came and attacked Area G, right, or wherever that Site G was, right, and he was the one that said shut everything down. Let's not make it look like we're a threat. Remember in King of the Monsters? So that's where he got the idea to shut everything down to make us look dead, not like a threat. I loved that in the book.
You know, and I didn't notice that until you just brought that up.
Nobody did. It's in the book though. It's in the novelization where he remembered the conversation he had with Mark Russell, where Mark Russell was like, "Shut everything down. Let's not be a threat to him. We can't pose a threat." And he was like, "Kill everything. Make us look dead." Oh, dude, it's so dope. It's, things like that. But and that's what I'm saying. Like, Godzilla's arc in all three movies, right? He goes from savior to humanity to legit King of the Monsters to God Titan. His whole thing is, and it's not Godzilla's fault. It's not even Monarch's fault. It's Emma Russell's fault, right? They released the Titans, and Godzilla had to put balance back. Godzilla Dominion makes perfect sense of that, the comic, but if you look at it in the arc, that's what Godzilla is. He goes from... Go ahead.
And I was just going to say, with that being said, they can lead on with this for a little bit longer. Godzilla is... now there's a big hole into the hollow earth that he drilled. What's going to pop out? Godzilla can be pretty uneasy right now. I would like to see an arc where it kind of goes full circle, where he's going to restore more balance and then goes back to his big slumbering drunk self that he was. Well, I would like to see that, honestly.
And that's my whole thing. It's like he went from, in 2014, being the reluctant hero, right, to people who are afraid of him. And he's killing people in Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla is killing people. From Apex to destroying the planes with his atomic breath to when he comes up in Hong Kong and destroys the bridge. Like, cars are falling all over him. To walking through Hong Kong, like, people are dying. People are dying. Godzilla is killing people.
The whole entire battle, if you didn't get out of that city. Well, didn't Lance Riddick in the film say we've evacuated the city? But we know some people didn't get out.
He said they're evacuating the city.
During all this.
Right, because you could still see them running. Like when Kong comes up from Hollow Earth,
right.
People are still around. Like, what are you doing? Why are y'all still having cocktails? Get out of there! Like, what's wrong with you?
There's also a few shots of building shots where you see people on the buildings and they're pointing at Godzilla and Kong as they're duking it out.
Right, it's insane. But
for instance, the helicopter when Kong's hiding on the building and he has the crane in his hand.
No, is there a helicopter there? I know at the end.
There's a helicopter looking at Kong.
I know
that's when he throws the crane at Godzilla.
Oh man, I know at the end when after Kong defeats Mechagodzilla, and then he's like in between buildings and a helicopter goes by. I love that shot because it reminds me of Godzilla 1985 when Godzilla's in between the buildings and then the helicopter just goes by, and then he blows it up, and then it lands in the highway, and then there's a gigantic chain reaction explosion. Oh, God, I love that movie so much. But Godzilla's arc, and that's what I'm trying to get to, is it's so there. If you can't see that, you're blind. But it goes from what Gareth Edwards had set up, a reluctant hero. Again, I went into 2014 thinking it was a Godzilla movie where Godzilla was going to just rise up and wreck shit. And it turned out to be 100% different. I'm such a Heisei fanboy that when I got Showa Godzilla in 2014, right? Because basically that's what he was. He was a savior. He was protecting man. It brought me back to my childhood when I was like, oh my God, yes, Showa Godzilla is the best. And I want, Force of Nature Godzilla. But I didn't realize how much Showa Godzilla meant to me until 2014. Because that's what Gareth Edwards basically did. Then you come to Michael Dougherty. All the bad puns aside, that's Heisei Godzilla. That's Heisei Godzilla. Like, he's still like Showa, but he's more like, oh shit, I gotta handle the business. He's not fucking with nobody. No, actually, he's more Showa Godzilla than 2014 Showa Godzilla, because he's not fucking with nobody. He's gone until something pops up, right? And that was the thing, and I loved it. The 5 years between King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla was dormant until Apex was messing with shit. Now, how does Godzilla distinguish, Mecha Godzilla Apex from anything else? It's the humans doing this. It's Gamera 3 all over again at the end of the day. Not that Gamera had a vendetta against humans. He was just tired. He was like, all right, you're in my way now. I'm sorry. And
I think that's kind of how Godzilla started to feel.
Exactly.
Honestly. And I like that.
But he also was on the offensive. And that's one thing I love.
Right.
Like, he, again, and I've seen the movie a million, not a million times, but I've seen the movie about 12, 13 times now, right?
Right.
And it didn't even hit me until today in the theater, where I'm like, holy shit, he's totally attacking the planes. He's shooting his atomic breath. He's blowing these planes up. Like, he's doing that. Like, oh shit. Like, and again, that's a Heisei Godzilla move, right? That's a I would say, Destroy All Monsters move? Because before Destroy All Monsters? When Godzilla
and Sea Monster.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, like, Godzilla was kind of like an anti-hero then. But it wasn't until Godzilla vs. Hedorah, where Godzilla wasn't fucking with the humans like that. He wasn't trying to kill humans. You know what I mean? Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus Gigan, Godzilla versus Megalon, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and Terra Mechagodzilla. Those movies, he wasn't going at the human race. Before that, though, even Destroy All Monsters, he was mind controlled, so you can't really blame him for that. Hell, even in Invasion of Astro Monster, you know what I'm saying? Mind control. Can't blame him for that. But in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, he wasn't no mind control. He came up, he blew the ship up. He blew the ship, and the people on that ship. So, this was that Godzilla. This was the Invasion of Astro Monster, pre-Destroy All Monsters Godzilla for Showa. This was the entire Heisei Godzilla. If Godzilla popped up because he had to go take a walk and, maybe find his spot where he can use the bathroom or some shit, and oh shit, Godzilla's up, we gotta go shoot him down. Godzilla's gonna go back on the offensive. You're shooting me, I shoot you back. This is what I loved about this scene. I was like, oh my God, Godzilla is doing Toho shit right now. Like, he's doing Toho shit right now. And they nailed it. They fucking nailed it. And that arc, to see that, because he doesn't do that in 2014. He doesn't do it in King of the Monsters, but he's showcasing his dominance. And then in Godzilla vs. Kong, it's whatever. Let's go. And I love that.
And I love that stuff when he's attacking the military.
Yes.
I love the parts where he's swimming in the water and he's swatting planes out of the air with his tail and stuff like that. You know.
And think about
That's
it,
what
like
I want in the King of the Monsters, and that's why I love the Rodan scene so much, because it's Rodan attacking jets.
I love that scene so much. You know I do.
Harkens back to my childhood.
I just hate the brawl. But that's the thing, too. Like, think about it. When Godzilla first appears in 2014, right?
That's right.
He goes under the ship.
Yep.
He goes under it. Now, Godzilla vs. Kong, he goes through the ship.
It's like, I don't have time for this. Boom.
It's the arc. It's the entire arc. And that's what I loved about you. If you look at it like that, the arc and King of the Monsters is the reason for it, right?
Right.
The Titans are they've awakened. Ghidorah has brought all the Titans out. That was the whole thing. We were supposed to do this one by one, but we woke the wrong Titan up first. Now King Ghidorah is like, everybody, let's go. Everybody
party.
Right. So when they all bow to Godzilla at the end, goes to show who's running the show. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about King of the Monsters. And like you said, Godzilla has enough screen time in GVK. And granted, yeah, he's the first, he's the name, but to utilize him in any other way, like you said, maybe attacking another monarch, apex base, there's no reason for that. There's zero reason for that. He attacked that base in Pensacola for a reason. Mechagodzilla. And I honestly think that the eyes were Orca. I think it was Orca technology or some kind of a homing beacon, where he sensed it.
I always thought of it too, also, with them turning on Ghidorah's brain, it symbolized a kaiju back to life too.
Oh my God, that makes all the sense in the world. Yes, sir. And don't forget that when Ghidorah takes over, right?
Right.
You hear Ghidorah. You hear it. When when that machine comes on, you hear King Ghidorah. Like, you hear it. And I'm like, it's those little things like that. It's those little things like that.
But you want to know the significance of that? That's terrifying to think that skull, even though as a skull is still self-aware, like, what if it starts trying to mind control people to bring it back to life somehow? That would be insane.
Well, maybe, brother. And it's not in the novel, but maybe that's exactly what it was doing.
That's I would
exactly
be down. I would love to see that. And then make a Mecha King Ghidorah.
Right. Remember how on previous podcast from years ago where, after King of the Monsters came out, we were like, oh, Mecha King Ghidorah, easy. Remember the leaks when they were saying, oh, we're going to see King Ghidorah in chains and all? Remember all that shit?
Well, that was from a screen when they did early test screenings. That's when the King Ghidorah in chains thing came up. And the thing is, I brought that up the last podcast because everything else that was from that screening happened in the movie. Like the aircraft carrier scene and some other things, and that's why. There's a lot that was cut, and that's probably what I have no doubt there was going to be more to this film, but yeah, I do remember that there was going to be a lot of stuff.
I'm not mad at what we got at all.
I'm not mad at what we got either.
I absolutely love this movie, and if I had to, start ranking movies, right? And of course, you want to rank the movies within their separate universes, correct? You know what I mean? So, like,
right.
You got your Showa movies, you got your Heisei movies, you've got your Millennium movies, you've got Shin Godzilla, you've got the anime trilogy, and then you've got the legendary movies, right? Even though legendary movies I should have put in between, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But as a whole, like, if you have to start ranking movies, this is how I honestly feel. I love 2014 because of the realism that it makes you feel like this is what would happen if these monsters if there were such things as giant monsters coming to land, right? Regardless if it's Godzilla, a name you know, but if all of a sudden one day giant monsters just popped up. This is why I love the Mutos, because it's like they could be anything. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this new thing, right?
Right.
It brings you back to like the classic, 50s sci-fi monster movies like them, the giant tarantula, or what was it? The praying mantis movie, the deadly mantis, like these giant bug movies, right? That's what a Muto is, right? It's paying homage to that because they're kind of like alien insects, like that's what they look like. They're insectoid type things, whatever the case may be. But then Godzilla's there. Everybody knows Godzilla, right? I love that movie because of the realism that it's based in. Then you get Godzilla vs. Kong. And I sit here and I say to myself, good God Almighty, this movie has given me everything I didn't know I wanted. There was one thing I wanted in this movie. One thing I wanted in this movie, and it gave me. And that was Godzilla winning the fight. So, I'll be honest with you. When I came out of this movie the very first time I saw it, I was happy, but I felt weird. Because I know that the entire time I was watching that movie the first time, I was so caught up with who's gonna win this that I wasn't really feeling the rest of the movie. Does that make sense?
Right.
And then
it does.
Then you get the payoff. That's why, and I said this before, that's why when I came out of the movie and we were going to see it back to back, after the first show, and we went downstairs, we had a couple beers, and I told my brother, if you want to leave, bro, don't even stress. It is what it is. Because while I got what I wanted, I didn't know if I felt fulfilled yet. The second time, I was like, okay. It wasn't until I came home and watched it with my family, I was like, oh, here we are. This is it. And then the next day we did the podcast. And I said at that time, 2014 is still my number one, right? And then comes GVK. I have a different opinion now. I look at it in a different way, my brother. Hear me out. It's very fucking weird, and it involves Godzilla in general, the entire series. While 1954 is the pinnacle, right? Because it started everything. And make no mistake about it, that is a great fucking movie. For what that movie's message is and what it delivers, yes, it's a giant monster, and people might scoff at it, but the theme and the idea and the message behind that movie at its time, you cannot fucking deny it. It is a movie about what nuclear power can do. And the Japanese made it, and it was what they dealt with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, like, it is what it is. It is what it is. That movie will forever be one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Absolutely, hands down. But my favorite Toho Godzilla movie is Godzilla 1985, or Return of Godzilla 1984, which I like more than 85, obviously. That's my favorite. I don't know why. Godzilla's just more, he's a monster. He's deadly. That fucking roar is so fucking raw. You know what I mean? Like, Godzilla's roar is raw.
My favorite Godzilla roar.
Exactly. It's the one that I lead the podcast with when we record it. That's the roar. And that's the Godzilla you see. That's my favorite Godzilla movie. Like, hands down. And I love a shit ton of these movies, right? So I think about that when it comes to these Godzilla movies, these Americanized version. And while I love 2014, I absolutely do. GVK has become my Godzilla 1984-5. It has.
I can understand that.
Where I cannot deny the greatness of 2014 because I love that movie. Because that movie made me feel a way I did not feel for a very long time. And that was appreciation for Showa Godzilla.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it really, really, really woke me up and was like, the reason why you like this shit is because of those Showa movies. That's what 2014 did to me. But they did it in a way that almost mimicked the feeling of 1954. It's not as dark, it's not as deep, but it's grounded in reality. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then GVK comes out, and I was like, this is what Final Wars was. And I still stand by that. I love Final Wars. I absolutely love Final Wars. GVK took everything that was popular within this decade and made it into a monster movie. And you know what happened? It fucking worked. It took the best parts of Pacific Rim, right? Mechagodzilla is it's a Jaeger. It's got a rocket punch, a plasma punch.
I really want to see Mechagodzilla come back. I loved that Mechagodzilla. I really want to see him back. I don't know how many other people feel the same, but I would like to see more of that Mechagodzilla really badly.
I think Mechagodzilla is completely finished from here on out.
I think so too, but I'd love to see him back.
And the reason why I say that is because as I'm watching this movie, I'm like thinking of all of the different possibilities that you can do going forth.
Right.
You gotta go at Apex the way, and this is one thing I loved about King of the Monsters, the way the government was going at Monarch in King of the Monsters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like where you have Serizawa in pretty much a court hearing, but with the government. I love that. I absolutely love that. Now you got to do the same thing with Apex. What were you doing? Why were you doing this? You know, like all of that. I would love to see that going forward. But dude, and that's
yeah, because you have to think there has to be a lot more Apex personnel. It wasn't just this one guy and Ren Serizawa.
Exactly. Like, don't get me wrong. He's the main dude. He's gone. Serizawa's gone. His daughter's gone. They're gone. But they had to be
you know what?
People.
In a way, what if that Ren Serizawa guy's not gone?
Nah, he's...
What if... well, let's just, give him an eye patch.
Well, and that... Yes! Yes! Dude, that would fucking kill. That would kill. My only gripe with... Oh, that would kill. The only thing I... Like, the movie didn't do him justice, whereas in the book, so far...
I hear the book gives him more of an arc.
It shows...
And now in the book, is he actually Serizawa's son?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's when
It shows his layers. In the beginning, because he's kind of like, my father was more into this thing than he was into me. I'm his son.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten to the part where in the movie, and this is the only part in the movie where you see Serizawa's character kind of like, whoa, what are we doing? When he kind of pushes back, like, we need to study this power more. Like, we need to study this energy source more. We can't just do it. And then, what's this dude say? And it was one of my favorite lines in the entire movie. He goes, get in the goddamn chair. Oh, man, the way that line comes out, get in the... Man, I tell you, that's one of my favorite lines, get in the goddamn chair. He says it. I don't even want to say that word, but the way he says it, the way that line is delivered, I'm like, okay, Walter Simmons, you got that. You got that. And that was the thing that when I get to that part in the book, I hope they, go into Serizawa's head and what his thought process is. Because maybe at this point in time, he realizes, hold up, maybe we are messing shit up that we shouldn't be messing around. Godzilla wasn't active until we made Mechagodzilla active. You know? He wasn't active. And if he wasn't, and in the book, it makes sense too, Kong couldn't stay on that island anymore. He was already mad. He was throwing trees into the freaking hologram, into the containment unit. So, and that's...
Which in a way is kind of funny and awesome at the same time.
Exactly. And it makes so much sense. Like, just the go-around makes so much sense. I love it.
But it's like,
absolutely.
I'm curious to, how did Kong start catching on to that this was a hologram?
In the book, they explain it.
Okay.
In the book, they explain it. He realized that the island was smaller.
You think he would travel too far to one end of a dome and then hit a wall and be like, what the fuck?
Well, in the book, that's what they were afraid of. They were like, wait a minute. What if he just decides to, if he hits that wall, start smashing in? We couldn't do anything about it. And I love that. I thought that was genius. I was like, that's fucking dope. But, again, I love this movie. Like, I love it. And it is, G14 was my favorite movie of the MonarchVerse. But watching this movie constantly, I don't hate anything of this movie. I dislike two things. One thing is a millisecond, and the other thing is, what a bellow. You know what I mean? Like, you get it twice in the movie, in the beginning and at the end of the credits. But outside of that, it delivered everything I wanted to see. Godzilla should have beat Kong. In the novel, they even explained that we can't take Kong off this island, because if he finds out, Kong is dead. They say it. That's why, and I just want to point this out real quick, too. To all the naysayers, because, oh my God, when I tell you I get mad at this shit, people trying to justify Kong winning, where? Where do you see that? The only thing Kong beats is those fucking war bats, one of them, because the humans had to interfere in the other one, and Mecha Godzilla. And that's because Godzilla charged the fucking axe. Come on, man. Kong did not beat Godzilla in any which way, shape, or form. Even at the end of that fucking movie, when Godzilla roars and everybody gets scared, and Kong gets, you see it in his face. It's there. It's clear as day.
He's afraid.
He's afraid and he's tired. That's why he drops the axe. He's like, I can't even do this shit no more. You got me. And Godzilla's like, respect. You do you, I'm do me. And that's the thing I loved about this. Again, it just makes so much sense. The dominance was shown, and that's where Godzilla Dominion really comes through. Because Godzilla's not killing these monsters. He's only killing the absolute threats. Ghidorah was a threat and wouldn't let up. Every other creature bowed down to Godzilla. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, however you want to look at it, whether Kong bowed down or not, he was defeated and he died. And
they brought him back like King Kong lives.
Right. So we need to stop this bullshit that Kong really won, because we all know, and I'm pretty sure.
Well, what movie did you see? How can you even say by the film that Kong won?
Right, and Adam Wingard even said there's a definitive winner in this movie, and you will see it. If you think Kong won, where? That's an obscurity. There's no obscurity to what Adam Wingard said. He said you will see it. We saw Kong die 3 times. Godzilla killed him twice. That's all I'm saying.
He drowned him, ripped open his chest, and what was the other one?
No, Godzilla killed him twice. The war bat killed him once.
Oh, okay.
The war bat had him dead to rights. Which was another dope homage I thought of. I swear to God, and I was like, oh my God, this is cool. The war bat homage, think about this. Kong fights a pterodactyl in 1933, right?
Yeah.
Giant pterodactyl on the side, nice stop motion animation. But in 1976, the only thing Kong fights is a giant snake. So what if you take a giant snake and put pterodactyl wings on it, you get a war bat? Think about it. I'm just saying, it's so.
See, I love those war bats. I thought those were cool monsters, and I wish they did more for those. But look, the moment I saw Godzilla drowning Kong in this movie, I'm like, there's no way Kong's gonna get the tops of this. Of the lizard, there's no way. And the fact when and I was surprised. surprised they did that when the war bat started smothering Kong and suffocating him. I was like surprised they did that because I'm like, you're basically showing us here that Kong is not that powerful.
Well, he's also out of his element.
That's true. He's in a new place and doesn't understand.
And both times, so like with Godzilla too, he was totally out of his like Godzilla didn't fuck with Kong. You know why? And in the books, this is why I love it. Kong wasn't leaving the island. So basically, Godzilla was like, all right, you don't leave, you're good. I'm not going to fuck... Because in the book, they even say, he goes by the island several times. But Kong's not... They sense each other, but there's no reason for Godzilla to go there because Kong's not leaving the island. And it seems like, and that's what I love, again, the arc of Godzilla. It's all about protecting the Earth or the humans, humanity, you know? If there's going to be a threat, Godzilla is going to handle that. And that goes back to the Showa shit that, again, that 2014 rekindled my love for. When I was like, oh my God. He's not just here to just be here. Like, oh, I gotta go that way because for whatever reason, I live over there. No, he was there for a reason. And once it was done, once he handled the business, he left. And he did that every single time in all 3 movies. And I love that idea. I love it. So, except when he starts blowing up planes and shit. I mean, I still love it because I'm like, oh, classic. It's old school Showa and fucking even Millennium. Like every single Millennium movie, Godzilla's blowing up people. Like, fuck that. Yeah, let's go. But, yeah. Godzilla vs. Kong, that's my 1985... Return of Godzilla of the MONSTERVERSE.
It's definitely one of the best ones in the MONSTERVERSE we've gotten.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite of the MONSTERVERSE, even though 2014 used to be my favorite. And it's like 2014. I just respect the shit out of. I love what it did for me personally. But Godzilla vs. Kong gave me everything I wanted. It literally put a stamp on Godzilla being the king of the monsters, period.
Right.
Period. I don't even care if in 5 years, 10 years, you get Godzilla versus Gamera. Don't you dare make that... And I love Gamera. Don't you dare, because you already know the deal. And that's... Yeah. That's all I got to say about that, my brother. You got anything to go on, anything to wrap this up with?
I mean, not really. Just that some of the concept art has been coming out, and there were supposed to be bigger Hellhawks, like a mama Hellhawk who was supposed to be the size of Kong almost, and Mothra. Wow. There's going to be Mothra in Godzilla vs. Kong, and we never got. But other than that, I'm collecting all the toys, and I'm excited, and FYE just went gung-ho on all of their exclusive figures, and I want to check out those Funko Pops, and I got my candy bars and my energy drinks now, and the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff, and I'm going to be collecting for a while. There's a lot of good Godzilla vs. Kong collectibles, and I'm excited.
I got to be honest, I don't have any, but I will say this. I just pre-ordered those Mezco Destroy All Monsters.
Those are cool looking.
Good God, bro. This is the first time in a extremely long time that I went out of my way to buy figures and pre-order, and I love the way these looks. And I did it because I wanted the Rodan, I wanted an Anguirus, but I really wanted a Gorosaurus, and now I got them. I was like, fuck it, they ain't coming until January of 2022. But the fact of the matter is, I'm gonna get them.
Yeah, so. I'm going to be looking for those too, because what's cool is Mezco. You can buy Mezco stuff pretty much anywhere at Walmart, Target, and FYE by my house will definitely have them. So I'm going to pick them up when I can too, because those are a must-have, because that's like a Showa collection.
Yes,
you don't want to pass up.
Yes, I mean you got
that Showa Godzilla looks great.
It really does. It really does, man. I'm so looking forward to that, and then the Rodan with the 3 interchangeable heads. I'm so excited for this. So, I'm excited.
I'm gonna pick up the SH Monster Arts Kong and Godzilla, because I want that Kong with the axe. I want that bad.
I honestly would totally do that too. I'm not even lying. I love this movie. Listen to me. I love this movie. Man, when I tell you, this shit makes up for so much that I did not like within the past 5 to 10 years. Because, yeah, what were we, 2021? 10 years ago? There wasn't even a Godzilla movie out 10 years ago. You know what I mean? This makes up for Shin Godzilla. This makes up for the trilogy. This makes up for King of the Monsters. And again, I came out of King of the Monsters. I hated certain things, but overall, I really dug the movie. I do.
Right.
But this makes me realize how much I don't like King of the Monsters, but I won't, again, I will watch it.
It's a thing where it's like, I respect King of the Monsters for what it wanted to do for fan service.
Right.
But it could have been a streaming movie, whereas Godzilla vs. Kong needs to be a theatrical experience for me. But I respect King of the Monsters, but I love Godzilla vs. Kong way more. Yeah. Because I remember after King of the Monsters, I think we all felt this kind of just dark eating pit and the stake of the MONSTERVERSE kind of eating at us. And now it seems like, thanks, knock on wood here, to the Hedorah smog that we're having, it seems like we may get a final chance to send it off in a better note. I'm excited about that because now, I was feeling bummed because I was like, man, I love looking forward to looking at news and reporting stuff and doing these podcasts. And I don't want to do, Toho is, you can still do it for Toho stuff, but Toho is a lot more different, at least with the American stuff, you at least have a little bit of a fit schedule of when news will come out.
Right.
But with Toho, it was like, is it at 3 a.m? Is it next week? Is it next month? Is it tomorrow? Is it today? Is it 10 minutes from now? I mean, I was destroying myself looking for Shin Godzilla news.
Yeah.
But I did it.
I know you did.
and now... now I'm like, okay, well now, let's give it maybe a couple years, maybe 2 years or so, or let's see what Legendary says next year or in 2 years. They'll get another Godzilla movie or something. Let's give that. Maybe we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward. Also, I'm just looking forward to the speculation. I want to see my Gigan, I want to see my Biollante, and I want to see my Megalon in the MONSTERVERSE.
You know what? Not for nothing. Megalon and maybe Biollante, absolutely, in a Hollow Earth. But I will say this: I don't think if they continue this right now that we're gonna get any Toho licensed characters. Here's the deal, and this is what I think. This is what I honestly think. While I scroll through my phone because I want to bring something up real quick. But here's what I think is going to happen. Hang on. Crap, where is it? With the Fraggle Rockin' son of a Chuck Monkey. Here we go. So, according to Legendary CEO Josh Grode, it's not in the realm of possibility that this MONSTERVERSE continues. The thing is, again, it doesn't have to continue with Godzilla. And there's a way around that. Godzilla has done what Godzilla needed to do. Kong is in the Hollow Earth. Godzilla can totally vanish. Completely. Because he's put everything else away. And you don't even have to mention Godzilla by name. If they do continue, where there won't be a Toho copyright, right? A copyright strike.
Right.
You could just be like, oh yeah, the big guy's, he's vanished. Or, you could say Big G. You could say something other than Godzilla. Or maybe you ask, oh, hey, could we just mention him one time? And I'm pretty sure they'll say, why not? Because they're going to probably fucking partner into whatever comes next. And what I'm hoping for is, again, a series. Netflix, hell, if right now you want to go HBO MAX and do animation, blow my head off. Let's do something like that. Like Warner Brothers, you have the rights to this shit. As far as the Monarch stuff goes, right? Now you can introduce everything else, and you can go into the Hollow Earth on an animated tip where it's less money. Or if you want to get a little fucking crazy, live action. But now you can utilize Kong. I don't know what, how the rights to Kong works right now. But Toho's going to make some more Godzilla movies. We know this. That ain't going nowhere. That's a licensing thing. Kong is different. But you could totally use that. And you could totally say in something like that, like the big guy's gone. And Godzilla could be gone. Absolutely. Gone from the MONSTERVERSE. But I can't see them utilizing any other Toho characters without coming out the pocket for that.
Yeah.
Because Toho wants to do their own thing. Now, to see these monsters again, because let's be for real here, I would love to see an updated Megalon. Right? It would have to be in whatever Toho's doing next.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking forward to. Now, Toho could be I
just would like them to do one more film where they don't have Godzilla just swim away. I want a decent... I feel like I need closure still after Godzilla vs. Kong in a way. So I'd like to at least see one more film with Godzilla before they start doing just Kong stuff.
See, and I'm okay with the way this movie ended because it was a wraparound. It went right back to the ending of 2014. It was not shot for shot, but it was damn near the same thing from a different angle. Godzilla went into the water and left. He finished. And
also, it's just I just like Godzilla more than Kong, so it's
absolutely.
Like I don't know how more interested I would be to go fledge out see a Kong movie than I would a Godzilla movie.
But it won't be a movie now. That's the thing, and that's where they can capitalize. It won't be a movie anymore. Now you do the series, whether it's animated, I think live action might cost them a bit.
But I mean, shit, you could even do an HBO MAX series and make it like you can do the Monarch thing there and actually have kaiju in it like Godzilla and Kong. You could do that.
That's what I'm saying, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Is you have a show called Monarch, right? You have a show called Monarch, and it's obviously based off of Monarch. That was the best thing that they did. Legendary did was the best thing they did was create Monarch. Because it's like the X-Files, but for giant monsters. You know what I'm saying? It's the Monarch Files. You know, the M-Files. I'm just throwing shit out there. But that's what you do. And you don't need Godzilla. Godzilla could totally go hibernate now. You know what I mean? And let Toho do whatever they want to do with their shit. And then when that's said and done, maybe they say, you know what? Yeah, let's do this game. Hell. And that's what I mean. You could totally use Kong. Not for another movie. I don't think we're going to get another movie. I think we're done. But the way this is making money and the way streaming services are now, when you look at Netflix and Amazon, right? And they have TV shows that generate ratings. HBO Max, yeah, they might be looking for something like that. Think about it. When HBO came out, it was Game of Thrones was a big fucking deal. Like a gigantic deal. Where they were paying something like $10 million an episode. What? That's crazy. Now imagine they put that shit to a Monarch file. Not even $10,000. Remember, they cut the budget for Godzilla vs. Kong. And look at the... Godzilla vs. Kong should win a fucking Academy Award for special effects. There's nothing in its way.
Oh, yeah, that is beautiful.
There's nothing in its way. There's no other movies where they have these crazy-ass special effects. This movie delivered more than any other Legendary movie, with the exception of maybe Kong Skull Island, because there was nothing in the way of that. No weather, no dark. But think about it. 2014, very dark. Very, very, very dark. The only time you actually see Godzilla looking cool is at the end when he's walking away in the daylight. King of the Monsters, there's snow, there's water, there's rain. You don't get to see the monsters. Yeah, you don't get to see the monsters. Godzilla vs. Kong? Oh, they gave that shit to you. On a less budget?
Now, you know, if there are going to be more live action films, we cut this Godzilla only at night shit. But the thing is, I do love that Hong Kong scene, though, at night, because Godzilla looks beautiful in the dark with the blue and the neon lights.
It's the neon lights, right.
I'm so glad now I picked up those Playmates Hong Kong figures. with the neon. They're neon. They're Hong Kong themed and they're neon colored.
Oh, I didn't even see those. I gotta look.
Yeah, they're purple and black and blue and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I picked those up.
But see, and that's the whole thing. It's like, so you don't need Godzilla anymore. You can totally utilize Kong, and the only thing, like the way to go right now, honestly, is the Hollow Earth. Because it's unexplored. And there is your TV show. Hell, it could be called Monarch Hollow Earth. Or just Hollow Earth. Or just Hollow Earth. You know? And have Kong be a star. I'm not opposed to having King Kong at all. If anything, I'll tell you right now, this is my favorite version of Kong. He doesn't die. Although he died 3 times. But he doesn't die. You know what I mean? Like, he's not dead.
What? Someone brought up, maybe it was someone in our group or something, but someone brought up the other day that, or maybe I was somewhere else, but someone brought up, like, this was kind of something special for Kong because usually at the end of his movies, he's dead.
Right.
And this is like kind of like a good positive balance for him because now, he saved, he has that connection with the kid and he gets to live.
And honestly, I have not seen one negative thing about the connection with the kid. I've seen negative things about the movie, but never the connection with the kid. And that just goes to show that, yeah, you know what? That was cool because it was a connection between the monster and us, you know? In a way, like a young, innocent kid. And her backstory, it was simply wrapped up in the movie.
Very simple.
In the novel, man, the novel gives you that, the gory details there. And I loved it. I loved it. And I wish that was a deleted scene. Oh my God, we get some skull crawlers. But anyhow, you go into the Hollow Earth and you follow Monarch and Kong just exploring this vast new world.
They can play a trope on the Lost World.
Exactly. And we know that there are creatures in there already because we've seen them. We've seen the war bats. We've seen the shell things, the crab walkers. We've seen Minya. We've seen Baby Godzilla. That's the funny. I love that. I love that.
They call him Doug.
They call him Doug. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But see, and then we seen the whatever those things were, the flying things that were in the fucking cave.
The Hellhawk.
The Hellhawks. All of those things have, and I said this before, Godzilla-like features. They do. They do. And I think that's an evolutionary branch from the original Godzillas. And I love the idea. You can go forth with that. You can use those things and not even mention Godzilla, but know that Godzilla is still a part of your fucking show. And again, whether you do it animated, which I would think would be the best way to go, or you do live action. HBO Max can totally benefit from something like that because Godzilla vs. Kong right now is a success. And if they go forward from this and utilize the themes and everything from this, the MONSTERVERSE will live on for at least another decade or two, a couple of generations, or maybe this just is the jumpstart to a brand new era, you know? Kaiju, Iga, whatever they used to call that. It's time. It's time for a renaissance.
Yeah, it finally could be the jumpstart because, I mean, think about it. Dude, there's a lot of actually kaiju movies coming out that aren't Godzilla. Well, I mean, if you consider Gundam one of them, I mean, that's giant robots, but there's some stuff coming out. I mean, you even got that kids movie Rumble coming out in a year. You have some Japanese stuff coming out. You still have Jurassic World going strong.
Yep.
You know, you have a lot of sci-fi centric monstrous stuff making a little circle come back, and and if history repeats again and again, I think it's very possible we could have, it could be a decent comeback. now we just have to see what Singular Point's all about, and I hear that show is just bonkers. So I'm interested in it.
That's a great way to wrap this episode up. Singular Point, ladies and gentlemen, it should have been out already. We should have been an episode or two in, but unfortunately, it is now coming out in June. Ugh, terrible news. It is out in Japan already. If you have a VPN or whatever they call those things where you can get Japanese Netflix, you can watch Singular Point with no subtitles. But fuck it. I used to watch Godzilla movies, the Millennium Saga at least, with no subtitles. I watched Gamera 3 with no subtitles the first time I got it. I'm just saying, you can do it. You can do it if you have it. But that's it. My brother, wow, this was a good one. I appreciate it. This is a nice podcast. Like, this one I enjoyed seriously. So thank you, my brother, for joining me.
Oh, absolutely. It was a blast talking.
And thanks everybody out there for listening to us for an hour, almost 2 hours, just going in. Do yourselves a favor, people. Just let your brain go off. Enjoy this legendary MONSTERVERSE for what it is, because it really is good. Bad jokes and all. It's good. And if you just think about the arcs with the monsters, you'll get it. It makes so much sense. And I'm really, really, really hopeful for what comes next, whether it's in Toho or whether it's in Legendary / Warner Brothers, HBO Max, Kong, Godzilla, it doesn't matter. I am so with it. But that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode of Godzilla Block Party. I am G1, and I hope everybody has a good day. Peace.
Peace.